Finally tonight, a local man is trying to get into the record books one puff at a time.
2, 1,
Darryl Learie is attempting to set a world record by blowing up the most balloons in 24 hours. His goal is 7,000 balloons. He kicked off the attempt at 1 o'clock this afternoon.
When people pursue records, like personal records, they build esteem and confidence, and they get spiritual progress out of it, and that's part of my true mission in doing this.
Also part of the festivities, this Californian who's trying to break the world record for most push-ups in 24 hours. It's all taking place during the Youth Britannia Youngstown Festival of Hope in West Edmonton.
Richard currently holds that record, doesn't he?
Yeah. Yeah. Which one would you rather try? To blow 7,000 balloons or...
I'm not a fan of push-ups. I'll go with the balloons.
You're going to go balloons? A lot of hot air, so you might do okay.
Okay.
Two hot airs.
A local man has earned his way into the record books by blowing up thousands of balloons. Darryl Learie managed to blow up 2,501 balloons in just 24 hours, setting a Guinness World Record. His goal was 7,000, but a lip injury slowed him down.
My arms aren't sore, but what happened was my lips began to swell up really bad on me, and it became just literally painful to even like blow up a balloon.
Also setting a record with Charles Servizio from California. He managed to do 7,503 push-ups in 24 hours. That is a record for a competitor over the age of 60.
Okay, I currently hold the world record for the most balloons blown up in 1 hour, 446 balloons. They all have to be blown up to at least 20 centimeters in diameter. I did that at City TV Studios, television studios here in Edmonton, Alberta, back in 2011, February 9th. And even though I submitted all the evidence to Guinness, breaking the old world record by 111 balloons, I submitted the video of the media clips of me blowing up the balloons live on TV on their breakfast television show of 446 balloons, plus an independent camera that recorded the entire 1 hour in the studio, plus at least a dozen witness signatures, plus 2 counters, and pictures. Basically everything that Guinness asked for. I was ultimately denied by Guinness for publishment in that book, and to this day I'm still not sure why, but all I do know is that if Guinness had simply watched the 1 hour video I sent them and counted the balloons, they would have seen that I indeed did break the world records. So this is August 5th to August 7th, and I'm going for a new record of most balloons blown up in 24 hours. Going back to my first world record of most balloons blown up in 1 hour, that record was accepted by the lesser-known Alternative Book of Records, and it was also accepted by recordsetter.com, and that was 400 446 balloons in 1 hour. So this new attempt here is also for the Alternative Book of Records and for recordsetter.com. To say the least, I'm not a big fan of Guinness anymore. So here I'm blowing up balloons about 5 every minute. And when I broke the world record for the 1 hour, most balloons in 1 hour, I blew up 7 balloons per minute. But these balloons were a thicker balloon. They were a premium high quality thickness. There's premium high quality helium quality balloons, so they were a lot tougher than your typical balloons. I time-lapsed this video. The entire compilation's about 53 minutes. And I have a measuring device there, and I blow up the balloons till the balloon inflates so it touches both sides of the rods in the measuring device, and thus every balloon is at least 21 centimeters in diameter. But technically the balloons only have to be 20 centimeters in diameter. Of course, for the 1 hour record and the 24 hour record, the balloons have to be blown and tied. In this video, I captured 2,497 balloons blown, even though I blew up 2,501 balloons as counted by the tallies. So I missed out on 4 balloons that must have been blown in between recording stops and re-records during the video. Well, the time that it takes to stop a recording and then initiate a new recording, I believe I lost the capture of 4 balloons blown within those times. The entire thing was captured on Ustream, and I have this. We had 2 backup cameras, and I had to use some footage from one of the backup cameras because we only caught 1,973 balloons on the Ustream shoot. So I had to use one of the backup cameras, which is why I had the backup cameras in the first place, in case one of the primary recordings failed to initiate. So this is one of the backup cameras, so it's going from a side view there. But at 2,501 balloons within a 24-hour period, it works out to a balloon being blown every 34 seconds of the day. And this is what I like to call my successful failure. I had originally planned to blow up 7,000 balloons, but we ran into some very unexpected problems. The day before, this is actually a Saturday, and the day before, which was a Friday, August 5th, my grandmother died, Tuovi Vastamaa, and so I dedicated this this second world record effort of mine to her. It's a first category world record, which means I'm setting it, not necessarily breaking it like I did with my first world record. So my grandma died, and my grandpa died some 7 years before, and so I was closer to my grandparents than I was my own parents, so that was the emotional shock. I remember one thing I definitely remember was that the same night that my grandma died, which was the night just before we were to kick off this Britannia Hope Festival, which was hosted by Fusion Canada here in the west end of Edmonton, was that there was this nasty, almost satanic-like lightning storm the night before. It blew down half our tents that were posted up for the festival, and the lightning and thunder was so horribly loud. It was I don't know, I was just there thinking about my grandma, you know, dying, and all of a sudden this raging storm that just seemed to had nothing but the emotion of just pure anger. Like it was almost like a satanic storm, like, you know, like almost like the world was coming to an end. You know, that's what it really felt like. And this is what marked my grandma's death, and that was really kind of traumatizing, actually. I'll never forget that. So anyways, we came the next day, and Charles came to Edmonton from California, Charles Savizio, and he's in the background there doing push-ups. He's trying to do the most push-ups in 24 hours by a senior, meaning 60 and over. 60 years and over, and Charles has the world record for the most push-ups in 24 hours, 46,001, set 17 years ago when he was 42. So Charles is now 60. As you can see, this is what they saw on Ustream, and I'm at 440 balloons now. It's an hour and 42 minutes, so my pace was a little slow. I have another video on YouTube where I blew up 1,000 balloons in 3 hours 53 minutes, I think it was. And it wasn't too bad of an effort. I actually took 3 smoke breaks when I did that record. So this pace, I was about doing the same. I was doing about 250 balloons an hour at this pace here. And as you can see in the video, it's a count of 10. So we're at 480. And 1 hour and 51 minutes and 30 seconds into it. Almost at 500 here. Just under 2 hours. There we go, we hit 500. And I deleted all the breaks from this video so that you could see a short compilation of all the balloons blown. After the first 2 hours, my pace was a little bit slow, but again, I mentioned they were like a premium quality helium balloons. My lips were starting to burn. It was a strange buzzing in my lips, and I had never felt that before. And I've blown up like thousands and thousands and thousands of balloons in my lifetime, and after just 2 hours of blowing up balloons, I was quite concerned about the buzzing in my lips. You know, it was kind of a really uncomfortable buzz, and I remember thinking to myself, oh my god, I've got like 23 hours to go, you know. And I remember being confused, like thinking, like, why are my lips buzzing like this? We had bought an original batch of 10,000 balloons. When I worked it out on paper, I think I could have been quite capable of doing 6,000 to 7,000. for sure, based on my previous world record pace. But I remember at this point particularly, I just wanted to knock off 250 an hour at a time, and hopefully just knock off the first 1,000 as soon as I could. Because until this point I had never blown up more than 1,000 balloons, which I did that one time under 4 hours. And there's a YouTube video of that. You want to go check it out? That'd be cool. Charles ended up doing 7,503 push-ups, and he did them mostly in sets of 50s, 40s, 30s, 20s, and even 10s. And there's just parts of this video where it starts to actually get rather cold, and right now it's just sort of like mid-afternoon, and we actually started exactly at 1 p.m. 33 seconds. I set the timer there at the bottom, so this is like 2 hours, 40 minutes, and 59 seconds, like into the 24-hour attempt. And this we did end up getting quite a bit of media coverage. We got an awesome article by the West Edmonton Local. CBC came out, CBC TV came out to do an interview. I never got a chance to record that one. CTV came out and did a TV interview. The Edmonton Sun put in a little picture with a descript in the paper saying "Don't blow it," kind of a little pun on what I was doing, and I'm expecting an Edmonton Journal article by Nick Lees on this effort. So the whole video is quite an effort to pull together. The original videos from the Ustream took me 49 hours to convert, and I did a whole balloon count on them, and it was like under 2,000 balloons, and I realized I missed the recording of the first 1 hour and 39 minutes of the effort, and I was like, oh my god. So I had to implement one of the backup cameras, and I had to timestamp the cameras. So I had one of our backup cameras was actually like a motion detection camera, and what it does is it takes a picture, and there's a timestamp on that picture for every picture it takes, and then later on it plays like a slideshow of those pictures very quickly, like almost like you're watching a rapid moving slideshow. You know, so I had to use the motion detection camera as to timestamp all the videos that were taken, because I've got like 24 hours of video from this camera, and I've got another 24 hours video from this camera, and another 24 hours video from this camera, and so the way I could timestamp them was look for sequences, like if I blew up a blue balloon and a green balloon, a yellow balloon, and 2 green balloons, I knew, like, then I got like the right scene, and then I could place all the videos chronologically, like right down to the very second, you know, based on the internet time of my laptop, to replace the one video that was missing from the primary Ustream. Remember, oh God, Charles Savizio came all the way from California on his own pocket to help support this like fundraising festival event for Fusion, and this whole thing actually took months to put together, surprisingly enough. And during those months, I was doing a lot of finger planks and benchmarking my finger planks on concrete, and finger planks with weight on my back, doing them on concrete for recordsetters.com to ultimately strengthen my fingers, because I reckoned that my fingers would get sore after so long of tying so many thousands of balloons. I practiced blowing up a 2-foot exercise ball that I could blow up under a minute. I did long sauna sessions. Not sauna, but steam room sessions, which are like high humidity, low heat. My longest steam room session is like 25 minutes, and it's on the recordsetter.com site. So, and of course I practiced blowing up whatever balloons I had. So I actually had a lot of lung training and a lot of finger training, all to strengthen my fingers and prepare my lungs. But at the same time of all that training, I was also the volunteer webmaster for Fusion. So there's times I spent many hours with lots of cold coffees and empty butts in the ashtray working on computer code as script kiddie, pretending to be a webmaster. And then on top of that, you know, it's we had to deliver flyers and had to contact media, and there was weekly meetings to prepare the whole festival. The whole point of the festival was to bring hope to Britannia Youngstown here in the West End. And I also had done a lot of good things for my good friend there, Charles Savizio. And the thing is, I'm just looking at this now. We're like 4 hours into it. Yeah, 950 balloons. I just love watching Charles do his push-up in super high speed there. I think that's just hilarious. He does them fast, but not that fast. But I suppose if I really had any like true advantage in these balloon blowing records, it's that I don't get lightheaded or dizzy after blowing up balloon after balloon after balloon. You know, it's just something I can easily do. I don't get like out of breath. So, and I'm very fast at tying off the balloons. So I guess you could say that lung-wise, I've got that long endurance power to stay with the balloons without really being affected. We're just past the 1,000 mark here, and the wind started really picking up. And like half an hour later, we had to move everything inside because the wind was starting to blow our tent over and everything. And at this point, my lips are just, I'm in a really uncomfortable position here because unknown to me, I had like an allergic reaction to this new batch of these 10,000 balloons, and so my lips have already begun to painfully buzz, if that were to make sense. It was kind of like a painful buzzing I really had to put up with. And it was such an uncomfortable thing, you know. That at this point here, I'm you know, I'm talking to Charles, and he's like, how many do you think you're gonna do? And I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, this is really becoming uncomfortable. Like I really don't like how my lips are feeling. You know, I mean, it was this whole allergic reaction to this like white powdery talc type stuff that was on the new batch of balloons that my lips just didn't react well to. It was like my lips were just drying, like how your lips begin to dry and chap up in the winter time, and I'm already like experiencing this like 1,000 balloons into it, you know. But this time it's kind of like a painful buzzing feel to it, you know. So I already know at this point, like 6,000, 7,000, it's just not happening. And here I'm just like, I'm just trying to knock off some numbers. And actually what I ended up doing was the breaks got longer and longer, and I started knocking off first like 250 at a time, and then 200 at a time, and at the bitter end it was kind of like 100 at a time. You know, the breaks got longer and longer because I kept thinking, okay, well, I'll just let my lips try to recuperate for those slightly longer periods. And so here I'm thinking about maybe 3,000 or something, you know. And I was at this point I was pretty cold. I found the room to be cold. It's outside. The festival is kind of long over, and it's like really windy outside. You know, I think a thunderstorm was moving in, and inside the fans are going, and I just remember being cold, like even at this point, you know. But you can see there I took another break. I sort of became fixated on knocking off 1,400. And this is because the way I figured it, 1,400 would have been one balloon blown up for every minute of the day of the whole 24 hours. And it seemed like a good pace to set, a good benchmark to try to push up to. Charles's muscles there are beginning to seize up, and what Charles told me originally was that there's always something that happens during these 24-hour attempts that you never expect, and the whole truth of the matter is that it really wasn't too much of a workout for my lungs. Even after the entire 2,500 balloons were blown up, my fingers weren't even sore. The whole bottleneck of this effort was trying to overcome some of the cold I was facing and the pain that I was starting to receive from my lips. And at this point, I had actually started a bucket from my batch of balloons, and I had about 800 balloons in that bucket because I knew I never had a problem with blowing up my balloons before. So I thought, you know, maybe the whole painful lip buzzing thing would start to slowly go away if I blew up a batch of my own balloons and took a break from blowing up the original 10,000 that were bought by Fusion, or Fusion West Edmonton. You can see there I reached the 1,400 mark. Charles's muscles are seizing up, so he's like breaking down into like sets of 10s, and the truth is he's like so disappointed, you know. I mean, this is a guy who set the world record for push-ups in a day, you know, like doing sets of 50, right? This is the next morning. No, this isn't the next morning, sorry. What am I thinking? Yeah, this is 7 hours and 30 minutes into the effort. And Charles, who got the world record for the most push-ups, you know, he's down to sets of 10. You gotta remember, he's like 60 years old, and he kind of feels almost embarrassed. You know, because age is catching up to him, and so I gotta look here. Okay, 1470. By this point in the video, I had tried some Vaseline on my lips because my lips were beginning to swell. So I thought if I could coat my lips with some Vaseline, it might help. I tried some chapstick. The Vaseline was like pouring bleach on a cut or putting salt on a cut. It just like totally stung my lips. It was just like really painful to put on my lips, you know, because my lips were already cracking up at this point, and they were like beginning to swell and take on sort of a bluish color. So I had to use ice before this point to bring down the swelling of my lips. And I remember I was just snacking on a few energy bars here and there, and I couldn't chew with my mouth closed. I felt like a little kid. But what I ended up doing after I had ice on my lips for about 15 minutes is we actually ended up getting like a straw, and I blew up like a batch of 200 balloons with this straw to try to avoid blowing up the balloons at the without trying to avoid my lips touching the balloons. But that took a lot longer. So yeah, it just didn't work out too well. I had been drinking a lot of water in this point, and every time I tried to drink water, I would try to moisten my lips with that water. And at this point, I started sprinkling water onto the balloons themselves. And at this stage, I sort of have like, I'm feeling a lot of resentment in a way, because I could do so much better, and yet this like unexpected painful lip swelling allergy reaction, like just something I never expected before. And I'm actually quite cold, Darry, like I'm freezing, you know, and I hate the cold. I just really hate the cold. And it's, you know, the lip thing is, it's just not something I could have trained for in any capacity. You'll notice that ultimately, oh God, I really don't know what to say. I could say this is what I call the successful failure, and when I think to myself, I feel like I'm repeating myself and kind of talking in circles with circular logic. I wore my heart rate monitor at the time, and so I could give some cool stats on what my heart was doing, and I'm sure I'll have those stats posted up on the video once I'm done editing this video, because I'm actually recording the audio to it after the fact, before the fact, in this whole overall compilation. Oh my God. Yeah, we're at oh, this is morning now. Yeah. This is 18 hours and 19 minutes into this effort. And I told myself I was going to try to clear up 2,000 before breakfast time. We had ultimately decided to take a nap for a good 7 hours, and yeah, nap for 7 hours, and go home, sleep 7 hours, and come back. I was hoping that the swelling of my lips would go down after that time. Unfortunately, what ended up happening, that 7 hour sleep did help my lips considerably, because once again I was shooting them off nearly at like 5 balloons a minute again. And what we ended up doing now is soaking all the balloons in buckets of water, and that really seemed to help my lip situation. So it's like super early in the morning. Like, we got there about, like, I think 7 o'clock in the morning, and I'm actually oh, Deborah's coming down. Yeah, so Oh, I'm so bad at this. Oh, here are my stats. Yeah. But, yeah, it's, I mean, in the way I'm so disorganized in my commentary about this is sort of reflects where my mind was at during this effort. You know, it's unexpected storms blowing our tents around and having to like move from outside to inside, plus unexpected cold temperatures from those storms and the unexpected lip swelling and my grandma dying the day before. These were just hard things to contend with, but I'm a record breaker. I don't give up. That's the thing about it. There's no trying. You just do it or you don't do it. And things go wrong in record breaking all the time. All the time. And you just, when you got a show to do, you just show up and you do your thing, and whatever happens is whatever happens, and you just never start and begin failing and say, oh man, I'm gonna give up, that's it. No, you just keep going. You keep going and you keep going and keep going. You know, you have that one shot opportunity, so you have to yield a successful result, right? So here I've got like 5 hours to go, and I'm fighting for my pace because I want to sort of hit a mark of a balloon blown up for every 30 seconds of the day. So I'm like trying to double up my numbers. And right now everyone's having breakfast, but oh god. I don't know, there's something so emotional for me about this attempt. You know, one of these days I'm coming back to this, and I'm gonna re-break this. You know, I'm gonna smash it like I meant to smash it the first time. You know, 2,500 balloons. That's not up to my expectations, but I guess that's sort of what drives me. Is never being quite happy with my own records, and I think with these 24-hour marathons, sometimes it's not what you can physically do in those 24 hours, but it's a certain psychology against the elements that you face within those 24 hours. Those unexpected things that come at you unexpectedly, like they're just waiting there to come at you. It's I mean, it's I'm almost coming to the point here where I just almost completed my 2,000 push-ups. I'm gonna give a shout out right now to Brian Pankey, #1 most prolific record breaker. On recordsetter.com, he's got well over 1,000 world records. Peter Craig, the Great Wonder from Down Under, is a very versatile record breaker. Doug McManaman, the Balance King, representing Canada. It's always me and Doug. It's like me and Doug are always representing Canada on recordsetter.com, you know. Dinesh Upadhyaya. Oh, I wish I could remember them all. But and Andy Palfrey from the Record Setters. So yeah, I'm talking like right now I'm the 5th most prolific record breaker on recordsetter.com, and if you ever check my profile, you'll notice I have far more records broken than records set, because like I said before, I'm never happy with a record I break, so I end up re-breaking it and re-breaking it, and you know, trying to push myself to a new level. Originally, I really wanted to promote recordsetter.com with this festival, and because I really think recordsetter.com is a really awesome thing, because it keeps big kids busy and gives them a chance to achieve something, you know, and they can learn, like, they can acquire like self-esteem and achieve discipline and patience and all these things that come with record breaking, versus being bored and getting into trouble. Like, we have a lot of troubled youth in Youngstown and Britannia, and they always get into trouble because they're bored and they don't know what to do with themselves, and so this is like the primary message I'm trying to bring out in the whole balloon blowing thing, like the whole breaking records thing. And so we must have mentioned like recordsetter.com like 100 times, you know, to our audience of 150 here. And oh god, so I probably feel most for the people I admire the most are the volunteers that you know, just sat there and counted my balloons, like, you know, I don't know, it's just, can't be fun to sit there and just count all these balloons I'm blowing up. So God bless them. This has got to be the most crappiest audio commentary ever to a video, but yeah, 53 minutes. Here I'm at almost 22 hours, and at this point I didn't care what kind of pain was going to affect me. I was just going to go for it. I was just going to go for my last burn, you know, blow up as many as you possibly can and just keep going to the end of the wire. I wanted to shoot for, at this point, 2,500 sound like a nice number in between 2,000 and 3,000. So that's what I'm doing here. God, I don't even know if anyone's gonna watch this video. Like, I probably watch the first few minutes or something, and yeah, and get bored. So I'm at oh god, I'm at what am I at here? 2190. 2191. That's what I'm at. Maybe I can think of a more creative way to compile this video. I don't know. I mean, how do you fill up 53 minutes of time lapse? Like, does anyone really want to watch this? You know, it's it's like, oh god. That's what record breaking is kind of like about. Doing the stuff that nobody else wants to do. I don't know, it's just taking stuff to the limit, you know. Oh. I can tell you at this point, I'm just like sick of blowing up balloons. You know, but at this part in the game, it's like a job. You know, it's like a job I'm not getting paid to do, which is like, it makes a worse job. You know, it's like, oh my god, I keep blowing these things up. You know, I remember, like, my lungs and fingers aren't tired. You know, it's just the pain of my lips. It's like, you know, it's this allergic reaction I'm trying to fight against, and still set a hopefully respectable benchmark. And so I guess that's the unexpected nature of a record sometimes, is you think you're going to be fighting against one thing, like how much lung power do I have, or, you know, or how much strength I have, but then you end up fighting against something else, like some unexpected pain, like an allergic reaction, you know. All I can say in this is I really suffered for hope. I guess in this whole record, I really just fought against my own psychology. You know, it wasn't a matter of how much lung power I had, how much my fingers could take. I mean, I just had minor blisters on the fingers, so I was kind of used to that. This was a fight against myself, against my own psychology, and the psychology of pain and discomfort, and sort of the unexpected, unknown elements that God throws your way sometimes. I'm at 2400 here. Yeah, I guess this is a good enough recording. Sometimes you can't bet on doing a really good job. Sometimes all you can do is just doing the job. Anyways, I'm out.